What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a bit of a discussion video to kind of go over with you guys. In today's video, I actually wanted to talk about why I think Cali Oubre failed on the Golden State Warriors. Now, if you guys have been a subscriber to this channel for quite a little bit now, you guys would know that before Cali Oubre was traded to the Warriors, I actually made several videos leading up to the the rumors that he might eventually get traded there. And in some of those videos, I said he could actually potentially be the perfect fit for this team. Now, the reason I said this is because I was looking at their team and I was like, wow, this team has shooters, It's got Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kent Bazemore, and Andrew Wiggins. Like, legitimate shooters. And I was thinking, okay, so Cali Oubre, you bring him in, right? And he was, before this season, Cali Oubre was regarded as an alright shooter. He was regarded as a decent shooter still, but the thing that spoke to people about Cali Oubre was his insane defense. He was very good on defense, and he had a good scoring ability too. And he could still hit a point jumper any single time on the court, right? But when he got to the Golden State Warriors, things kind of changed a little bit. They decided to go a little bit of a different direction than what I thought. I thought they were going to, draft LaMelo Ball. I thought that was the obvious thing to draft LaMelo Ball because considering Sean Livingston was gone, and I thought they were going to look for a big to come off the bench and play like that point guard type role, but could eventually guard point guard, shooting guard, and small forward. I thought they were going to do that considering they had been quite vocal about getting the ball back into Draymond's hands and, out of Steph Curry's hands in terms of playmaking. That, of course, ended up being true. Steph Curry did not play make that much this season, so I thought, when Draymond's maybe a little bit injured or coming to the bench for a rest, maybe LaMelo Ball could be like that main guy with the ball to work with Steph and Klay. But then, of course, Klay Thompson got injured. They didn't draft LaMelo Ball. They actually drafted James Wiseman, which I don't know if they regret. I know a lot of Warriors fans are kind of upset about that to this day, but I think James Wiseman could still be a very good player in the NBA. Before I get into Cali Oubre, I would say I think James Wiseman, even though he wasn't my pick, in my opinion, I think the reason why James Wiseman kind of sucked as well for the Warriors is, not just because, he kind of came into the NBA, right? And people expected him to be so good, but I think they forget that if you looked at Darius Garland, right? Darius Garland, in his first season, he sucked. He was not good. And the reason why is because he pretty much jumped straight from high school to the NBA because he only played 5 college games and had a big injury. But now Darius Garland is looked upon as the future of the Cleveland Cavaliers and potentially their best player and will probably be their best player in the future. He went from being the biggest bust in the draft to being the future of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that's going to be a similar situation to James Wiseman, I think. Look, he doesn't really fit with the proficiency, and the system of the Golden State Warriors. I get that. But I think he can come into this season and work a lot on, in what he did in the offseason potentially, and kind of bring that towards the NBA. All he needs to do is get rebounds and maybe put some shots up that Steph and Klay misses or something like that. The thing is too, he kind of missed a whole season of college and jumped straight from high school to the NBA. So I think he'll have a good season. But I still thought it was the best thing to maybe take LaMelo Ball, but they didn't. So LaMelo Ball, they didn't take him. Klay Thompson got injured. So then they went and picked up Cali Oubre anyway. I believe they traded a first-round pickup or something for him. The thing with Cali Oubre is, I think he would have worked on the Warriors if he had, if he didn't have to rely on his shooting so much. Cali Oubre at the start of the season was shooting quite a fair bit because that's what they wanted him to do at the start of the season. Then when he absolutely was so bad, they kind of thought to themselves, alright, let's see if Cali Oubre can play a little bit of an Andre Iguodala role in the NBA, where he can be a forward that comes off the bench, brings in great defense, and doesn't need to worry about shooting and can just be a good scorer. They tried this out in the last couple of games of the season. Like, I believe he came off the bench in the last 6 games, and it weirdly worked. He actually played really, really good for them at some points off the bench, and somehow his jump shot improved when he wasn't having to shoot threes all the time. It was weird. That was a weird thing. But deep down inside, everyone knew that Cali Oubre did not want to come off the bench. That was the obvious scenario. So, in my opinion, I did say then Cali Oubre was going to leave. The reason Cali Oubre failed with the Golden State Warriors is a couple of things that will come into it. First of all, they kind of changed him as a player a little bit. In Phoenix, all he had to do was be a great defender and just score the ball. And most of his points were layups or dunks. But in his first 20 games or so with the Golden State Warriors, this guy didn't seem to have that, kind of ability to do what he used to do at Phoenix, because he was shooting much more, just like how the Golden State Warriors do. They're a high shooting volume team. That's obvious, and they've always have been. But Cali Oubre is not a high shooting volume player. And it didn't help that James Wiseman was so bad in his first season, so uncoordinated, he kind of just sat in the paint and did nothing and clogged it up, which means Cali Oubre didn't have a lane in the paint. But when Cali Oubre was playing with DeAndre Ayton, he was always had a high IQ and would know when to leave the paint. Now Cali Oubre is going on a different, kind of scene. He's going to a different scene. He is signing with the Charlotte Hornets, which, will that work? That is the big question. Could he work on the Could he work on the Charlotte Hornets? I think that will legitimately be the biggest question. I think he might. Plumlee is that player who I think, they acquired Plumlee, who will be their new starting center now. I think Hornets low-key had one of the most underrated off-seasons in the NBA. Plumlee's a big upgrade over the centers that they had right now. And I still don't think Plumlee's really a starter in the NBA. But it's not like he's a bad player. I mean, he averaged 10, 9, and 4, really. Not a good three-point shooter, but he definitely knows how to get out of the paint to make way for players like Cali Oubre and that to do their thing, which is not what Cali Oubre had on the Golden State Warriors. Again, let's talk about Charlotte, rather. Charlotte had, low-key, the most underrated season nearly in NBA history. I haven't heard one single soul talk about their season. Their off-season, rather. Think about it like this, right? They lost Devontae Graham, who they didn't even need. They didn't even need to bring back. They lost Cody Zeller, who they didn't need as well. And they lost a couple other players here and there, waived some players who they just didn't need. That's just the reality of things. Then they went and signed Cali Oubre, who might start for them. Then they brought in Plumlee, who I think will be a very good rotational piece for them. And then had one of the cleanest drafts ever, where they took James Bouknight, Kaya Jones, JT Thor, and Scotty Lewis, who could definitely, all four of them, be very good role players for the Charlotte Hornets. So I think Cali Oubre will fit in fine. Again, they lost Malik Monk as well, but when you bring in James Bouknight, you don't need Malik Monk. So they lost all these players, but they got better. And I think the Charlotte Hornets will be pushing for the playoffs. And I also think they'll have one of the most underrated, I think they had one of the most underrated off-seasons. Will they make the playoffs? Who knows? But I think they'll be a much better team next season. But of course, definitely don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And comment in the comment section down below. Why do you guys think Cali Oubre failed on the Golden State Warriors? I definitely would really like to know. What are your thoughts and opinions on James Wiseman? What are your thoughts and opinions on the Charlotte Hornets off-season? Of course, I definitely would really like to know. But of course, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA content and NBA news. And yeah, just check out all my, other content here and there, and just comment your thoughts and opinions. But as I was saying, leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Till then,